Good morning. This is the Focus on Parliament show on Civic Space TV, brought to you by the Center for Constitutional Governance. I am Isaac Kwagala, your host. In Parliament, MPs continue to read from different scripts regarding the proposed censure motion targeting the 4 parliamentary commissioners who have previously been adversely implicated in the 1.7 billion service award scandal. Now, this issue continues to elicit mixed reactions, with a certain section of the MPs hailing it as a necessary measure to restore public confidence and the integrity of Parliament. Whereas, on the other hand, critics accuse that group of pushing for selfish interest and gain. On this edition of the Focus on Parliament, we discuss the implications of this motion and what it really means for the wider context of parliamentary democracy governance in the country. I am now joined by a distinguished panel of personalities who I now have the pleasure and the honor to introduce to you, our dear viewers. Let me start from my immediate left. Is the gentleman, Mr. Joseph Tahinduka. He's a policy analyst and an associate director working with the Center for Policy Analysis and the Parliament Watch. Joseph, you're most welcome to the program. Say hello to the viewers.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Just to correct you, I'm not a director. I could be sacked from saying I'm a director. But I'm a policy analyst and programs associate at the Center for Policy Analysis, which is a home of Parliament Watch. And I look forward to sharing my perspectives on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph, for joining us. Next to Joseph is a regular on the platform, Miss Winfred Mugambwa, who is a civil rights advocate and also the executive director for Rights for Her, a civil society organization focused on women empowerment. You're most welcome to the program, Winfred. Say hello to the viewers.
Thank you so much, Isaac. Good morning, viewers. Happy to be here today again.
Thank you, Winfred. And last but not least is the gentleman, Yam Bulobuto, the founder and executive director for the Progressive Think Tank, which is a research and policy analysis organization, and also parliamentary hopeful for the year 2026. He will share the details. You're most welcome, Jeff, and I've already seen the graphic content circulating, so let me break the ice.
Thank you, Isaac. I take the blessing. My name is Yam Robutu, like Isaac has said. It's a pleasure to be here. I hope both the panelists and the viewers can benefit from our time here. Thank you.
Thank you, Yam. And I'm going to ask that I start with you. Now, as of this week, according to the latest update, I think over 131 parliamentarians have appended their signature on that censure motion to have the parliamentary commissioners record from their various designations. But we want to understand, is this really about the legality or rather morality of the service award, or it is politics at play? Because there is a whole section of parliamentarians who have come out to strongly criticize the move, saying that the movers of this motion are motivated by selfish interest and gain. So is it really about the politics of the debate surrounding the service award, or these are people that are clearly motivated by the need to enforce accountability? What's your reading of the situation in Parliament?
Okay. I think that as you ended, I now understand the question a little bit better. But in terms of whether it's genuine or selfish interest, I'm not in a good position to really or determine that. But if it is coming from their fellow colleagues in the House who know a little bit better than we might know, terms of these different personalities. Maybe there is, maybe there is not. But whether there is or there is not, is the attempt a noble one? In my view, it is, regardless of whether they could personally or selfishly benefit from it. But does the country also, in the long run or even short run, benefit from it? Yes. Any attempt to try and highlight accountability issues is a welcome gesture, despite the underlying interests that could be in such a move. So for me, to me, at least as an individual or a citizen who is not in Parliament, who is not in the House, who is not an MP, I applaud that endeavor, their selfish interests notwithstanding. How do I read the mood of the Parliament in there? The first question, and you seem to work around it in try to pose a question for me, moral or legal? It's both. It's both a moral issue and it's both a legal issue. A moral issue in the sense that 1.7 billion on 4 individuals who are already having a whole pack of different privileges by virtue of being commissioners. One of them is they're entitled to 23 million per month on top of their usual MP salary, and a car and a driver and a police officer, and and many other small privileges that come with the position. So to want to again add on to yourself these huge amounts of money, I think it doesn't sit well with moral and ethical landscape, but also legal in the sense that was this money budgeted for? There are questions, there are different angles of members of Parliament. Those some saying that indeed it was passed, others saying they never saw it. Then these ones asking the other ones to bring evidence. So that alone shows you that there are some legal loopholes within how this whole money came to be passed. So I wish that the members trying to put together this petition can raise these numbers, and then we have this debate go onto the floor of the House rather than have it in the corridors of Parliament or on talk shows, so that it's inside the House and we are able to have all the reasonable information to actually know what exactly transpired. But for me, for now, I wish them all the best.
In principle, you support the move?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Okay, thanks, Yam, for your perspective. Winfred, Yam raises an interesting aspect to the conversation, in a sense that we have seen legislators in Parliament, while appending their signatures on the motion, cast doubt on the credibility of the actual motivations of the movers of the motion. Chief among which is the Remy Yaga Member of Parliament, the Honorable Sechkubo. Now, there is a whole discussion where a section of parliamentarians are saying this money was actually budgeted and duly passed by Parliament legally. So what is there to now, review? Or why should we open a can of worms by bringing up this debate again? It is not necessary. Then, as Yam points out, there are those who think this is beyond the legality of the issue. It's a moral question, because the taxpayer has a direct interest in seeking and getting to know how their monies are being spent and utilized by the Parliament. So I want to ask the same question that I asked Yam in the beginning. What is your assessment of this matter? Is it really a matter that is motivated by genuine concerns to have and achieve accountability for the taxpayer? Of course, taking into consideration that background that I've laid out, where people are disputing the legality or the lack of it, or is it a moral and ethical issue?
Thank you so much. On this, I want to first thank the citizens we now see somehow an influence of the people. Yes, because the award was done in 2022. Yes, and I believe Honorable Civic was also in Parliament then. We are in 2024 when we had the Twitter space where they talked about the exhibition. Yes, and they brought that, and those evidences came out, and then that is when Civic picked it up. That is where I'm starting from thanking my fellow citizens and encouraging them not to give up, encouraging us not to give up. At least we have seen that there is power in numbers and there is power in voice, and citizens can influence. So as we give credit to the honorables who are moving and pushing this, we need not to forget who are the initial persons who got these MPs to at least shake to this, because there was all of 2022, 2023, beginning of 2021, all MPs were what? Were quiet. So first, you saying whether it is a genuine concern, it depends on how someone can defend how genuine they are. But again, it is a moral, to me, first I would say that it is a moral issue. But again, as we look at it as a moral issue, I would still ask a question that okay, how did we get here? How did even the commissioners get? Yes, they have, it's a committee, but how did they even have the powers to get to that? Which means there is a loophole
in the law.
Yes. To me, as a citizen, I would look at it as a loophole. You can't give Winfred power to determine what favors her, and you don't expect me to do what favors me more. You get it? And again, I still ask myself, when we are having a debate of Member of Parliament sitting in the same house, the 11th house, and this side is saying they passed. Yeah, this motion was passed in Parliament, and we say the other ones are saying bring evidence they did. What kind of confusion is that? Yes, what kind of confusion? Who is confusing who? Of the two, who is confusing to who? So, however much it's a moral concern, it is a moral concern, and of course when you look at it, of all discussion, when you look at all the discussion, I'm not a lawyer, but when you look at all the discussions people are bringing, there is legality in it. And again, another thing, I have personally a question around when they say that for us, please don't involve the speaker. We are looking at only these 4 commissioners. I feel it's not being fair. When we sit in a meeting, personally I would think everyone who was involved in that meeting should be held accountable as much as those who received the money. Because it means that even if when we put away these commissioners, it means that those same people can do the same thing. They are all silent. Yes? And the other thing, I still sit and question myself, or even just be there and say, but this Parliament, okay, we need to have this. Okay, they are censoring the commissioners, but to me I feel that is also, it is just open like this. So what? They are censoring them. How am I benefiting when they ate my money, a taxpayer? How am I benefiting as a citizen of Uganda? Okay, they have censored them, they have gone back to sit in the Parliament as parliamentary members. Yes, they are going to earn their salaries. They already ate the 5,000 and 4,000. So how is it benefiting me? Just removing the title. Yes, they love the title, but we need to take action. Action that speaks. For them just having them that we are censoring these are commissioners and we are having them, it is not enough for me as a what? That is where some would feel maybe this is something that it is a personal issue. Maybe people are looking at, you know how it started, and remember how every day, and yesterday evening it was worse. And are people looking at either, okay, if I don't sign, the voters won't vote me. Yes? If I don't sign, then yesterday during noon when we saw the US sanctions, could it be also one of the reasons why people also ran to sign? So when we are saying, when you ask around the genuine bit of the censorship, there is question first around why this long and why now after the Citizen. Why this matter? We have very many matters. People, Honorable Chikubo says he's doing this to bring back trust to the House, confidence. But I remember when he was standing as he was contesting to be a speaker. I remember one speaker or deputy.
Yes.
It was the same grounds he was standing on, if I can remember, which means that this is not the reason why the Parliament has lost trust. Why people have lost trust in a Parliament. There are several reasons. Yes? How many other reasons has he tried to stand firm and speak so that, why mainly this one? I support it, by the way. I support it from day one. I support every person who is fighting corruption. But I really also want to understand, if at that time, at the beginning of the Parliament, of the 11th Parliament, and even then the times has been there, when he had the grounds to stand on, I want to become the speaker so that I can restore trust. I want to be the speaker so that I can restore trust, confidence, yes, back to the House. Away from this, he's doing a very good job now, yes, having this one censored. But again, basing on the reasons he's giving, what other things, as me as a citizen, I'm questioning myself, okay, this has been done, but to me I'm thinking, because 2026 is here, now they want to say that we voted, this didn't know we signed, this one signed, they want to use that so that we can give them what? Let them show us another what? And other things where they are fighting corruption. And also around the moral issues, I've talked about where other members who were part of that meeting. Even when these ones took the money, if I go with you to steal, and you enter the house and you get the money and you go, and later the camera sees both of us, we are both thieves. So what are other persons, the persons who are part of that committee? What is the repercussions? What are they going to do? What? So it's like we are just choosing. We are having rotten mangoes in a basket. That is the Parliament, and we are choosing which rotten mango can we remove. Which rotten mango can we remove? It is what the member of Parliament are doing. The citizens are doing their part. And I appreciate that they have picked up one of the matters, which is very crucial, and I support it. But again, then surprisingly, yesterday when one of the members of Parliament wanted to steal the sheet,
the registration.
then still you still ask yourself which kind of people are we having? And when because now this is something, what he did is, we are talking about moral issues. What action was taken? Yes? So as we debate around issues that are immoral like that one, are we even having the right persons to push such issues? Are they accountable enough, them as themselves? Yes? Are they accountable enough to push this agenda to the end? And again, still another question: if the 177 signatures are got, are we sure that me as a citizen I'll benefit? So there are many. As I support this. Those are some of the ground I'm looking at.
Still have
are
questions.
they? Yes. Are these people just making this a political game? For me, I'm feeling they are trying to politicize this game of now. Let's try. How can we now like try to clean ourselves in front of the voters. Yes, let's pick this one, which might be the easy one. Yes, and then, but I really appreciate the move.
Thank you, Winnie, for your views. Joseph, this matter seems to the surprise of many citizens, have turned out to be contentious, in a sense that it seems to have split Parliament down the middle. Ideally, the citizens would expect the members of Parliament to be united and firm in their position to push for accountability. But now questions are emerging as to whether the principal movers of the motion can galvanize enough support to even have the motion debated and discussed on the floor of Parliament, like Yam has pointed out here. So I want to ask, from a policy analysis standpoint, this issue seems to intersect politics, morality, legality. What is your evaluation of this?
The first is a comment I would like to give where you assert that this has divided the House. I have a different opinion. I think this is one of the most bipartisan moves by a member of a majority party where we are seeking signatures from both sides of the House, and every member is trying to make sure that their vote means another issue. Because more often in Parliament, it's always just a tyranny of numbers. The focus of the NRM has said, let this go, and then everyone say, yay. And maybe then a minority can always whisper, nay. So I think this, in one way or the other, is one of the most defining moments of the Ugandan Parliament, where all sides of the House are agreeing on one thing. Now, there are issues that have emerged.
So let me interject there. We are still at a distance to realize the required threshold.
Yes,
legal threshold. Why is that the case?
In principle, you're seeing both members of the NRM and members of opposition, which is even fragmented itself, all agreeing. So there's a level of unity we should celebrate there. That, for example, a minister passes Namuganza, herself, a full minister, had to join in, and we're seeing members of the opposition themselves coming as a bloc. So this is a political statement we can't ignore, and this gets particularly back to why we haven't then raised the 177. Because NRM is a tyranny of numbers, I think they are waiting for a signal from the powers that deal.
The central command.
and very soon we are likely to see such a signal come out, because I broadly think NRM has a lot to lose by them not supporting this motion. They may delay to make that statement, because you realize that the National Unity Platform has already made their statement, even I think from weeks back. Even the president, from the tone of the letters that have been coming through, the tone does not seek to sort of appreciate that he's in support. It's more or less, let me look for more information. So I think and there might be events that come up, but for me, in principle, I think this is one of the defining moments of the 11th Parliament, and particularly the third session of the Parliament. But that aside, still to the question you say, journalism, and the strong journalism at that, has always delivered a very, 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 very good change to the democratic culture of different nations. When you look at the United States, you remember the Watergate scandal when President Nixon abused his power as a president to spy on his political opponents using state machinery. The WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, who is still in prison, who released information regarding the bad conduct of US forces in the Middle East, in Afghanistan and Vietnam. Strong journalism has always delivered very, very, very phenomenal results. And I think for us, our Watergate scandal as a country in adjusting the political culture of this nation is the Uganda Parliamentary exhibition. And as Parliament, what we've been seeing it unfold, now speaking to the very incentives you are trying to appeal to, which is that, is the intention of Honorable Theodore Sechikubo right or not? Now, the moment the Uganda Parliament exhibition came through, you realize that the schedule of Parliament started changing a bit. First, the Speaker took the House into a recess, senior dinner for about a week. Then it started like appearing on one day, then it appears like the next week for 2 days. It became a bit irregular, a Tuesday, Thursday scenario. Very, very critical to note is that Honorable Theodore Sechiku and Honorable Joel Senyi are the only two people who decided to tackle the issue by its horns, by mentioning that specific issue.
And Honorable Jonathan Odu.
Jonathan Odu, thank you for that correction. So we can discuss whether he's having a bad intention or not, but the idea that what he's doing is good, and because everyone has an interest, yeah? Everyone has an interest. Even the president has an interest, even Bobby Wine has an interest. Everyone, for example, Nu has an interest in this issue because the moment they push for it and it is successful, they are likely to be perceived as the good guys, right? So I think even him, he has an issue. He could want to be speaker. He could want to perhaps one day stand for president. Or he could just want to have the moral high ground. What I'm trying to say is that there is nothing wrong with having an interest. If that interest aligns with the interest of the people of Uganda, so be it, and I think we're on the right page. The second idea around that, I am a teacher of logic. I teach logic, and a fundamental part of logic is where you leave the messenger, you leave the message, and then you hit the messenger. It's called an hominem, yeah, where you leave the message and you hit the messenger. And citizens need to know that what people are doing, like Honorable and my only MP from Dora East, Winfred Mwagaba, I think even Ojama Penduza, I see the rhetoric seems more or less like, let me get more information, and I need to understand the interest. They are missing the message here. There was a lot of information, the Uganda Parliament exhibition, which was not disputed because there's no alternative perspective already. Even Honorable Mbuga came and agreed to this specific position. So what other information do you want? Because if you look through still logic, there is where you have given them all the information, but now they use what they call the burden of proof first. They still say, no, I need more proof. But what more proof do you want? What threshold? But they need to define what exact proof do they need. Yeah, we all know Parliament, the way it works. The system, the computer system which Parliament has at the moment, when you download even a single document, they will know it will have its own timestamp. If it is and there's certain information which you can't access, which is only private to only a certain people. We were very lucky by some stroke of luck that the Holy Spirit or the spirit of
your ancestors,
whichever spirit inspired that person. Just like, remember when Keith Makanis died, Raymond would say he used to read some documents about the bad behavior of government. We were very lucky that such a person gave those files to the team at Agora Center for Research. And this is in every country, such patriotic people who are within the system play a very fundamental role. To the MPs who are saying they don't have enough information, which other information do they want? By them saying that, they are betraying the people of Uganda, and it is not just immoral. It is beneath the standard of legislation for someone who should know that this is a level of evidence which is available. Therefore, let me make a decision. And I'm hopeful we shall get the 177. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. Yeah. Is the timing in all this debate an issue? Because for those that question the sincerity of the motivations in pushing for the censure motion, there is now the other component of timing. How come if indeed this service award was passed in 2022, that was, I think, barely a year into the new parliamentary term. This is 2024. So there are, I think, voices, especially from the public, to the effect that maybe most of these members of parliament are pushing with a view in mind to look at the next election to, buy some sort of incentive and trade it with the population. So is the component of timing, does it concern you at all?
Yeah, obviously, but you need to weigh. So yes, there is an issue of timing, but nonetheless, if this issue has arisen now, does the general public still benefit from the endeavor? See, everything must be reflected on what's the end goal, what's the greater good. Yes, there are questions about you having been in this same house for almost 2 years and you couldn't bring out this issue. But you see, also, they themselves, members of parliament, were feigning ignorance about these transactions. and if Turahinduka was, if his facts are right, indeed there is some information that is only privy to particular hierarchies within the institution. So I won't hold on to the fact that they didn't know themselves. And because of that patriotic act of that individual, who contributed to the parliamentary exhibition expose, finally these matters came to the limelight, even of the MPs themselves. And we must give them credit for saying, hey, we didn't know about this, but now that we know, this is the action we are taking. Perhaps if they had done due diligence or had known earlier, maybe they would have taken this action earlier. So for me, that is not a big concern per se. It points to the seriousness of our members of parliament. It points to their level of agility and their level of responsibility and how big they take their duty and obligation. But it does not in any way, shouldn't in any way undermine the action. Also, the commission is consisting of about 10 or so. Now, if there was to be a deliberation on this service award and all that, these were beneficiaries, these four. So the commission could have sat without them, so that the other members of the commission are the ones to have conversation on whether this service award is justified or not, so that there is a more detached conversation, a more credible conversation on the matter. But the composition of the commission, as it was discussing this matter, 90% were the beneficiaries. Actually, the other members who could have no interest in this matter did not attend this particular deliberation. On the issue of course, Sitco, Honorable Sitco and all the others are really doing politics when they say they have no issue with the speaker, this is really about the commissioners and things like that. He's simply trying to be clever by half and protecting the process because he knows the kind of force and the kind of influence and the kind of impact the speaker has, and therefore how she could easily pull strings to undermine the same process itself. But I think Sechko is really being naive because I don't think that he thinks that the Right Honourable Speaker doesn't see that eventually this process, in the moment it succeeds, it will learn that no, it would be very naive he doesn't even need to make himself look very naive and ignorant by saying these things on TV. It's so clear that this thing will finally end at the door of the speaker because she chaired that session. So, madam, for you also allowed these others to hoodwink you. Okay, you're saying you're innocent. You simply chaired. Okay, but madam, we also questioned your inability to read that this was not a proper thing to do. Therefore, we now have issues with your judgment. Maybe it is also a reason to proceed against you. So Sechko was really playing politics there, and I don't think he needs to. No. If it ends up at the door of the speaker, let it. Then I wouldn't be in a hurry to be so optimistic about the center of command intervening towards increasing the numbers of the petition, because you see, we've been seeing how President Museveni does these things. If it were any other president, maybe, but President Museveni in particular. So you allow these members of parliament censure 4 commissioners. Who else do they censure? Once you give them this kind of confidence and empowerment, who else do they censure? And therefore, after that, who else do they censure? You are the Prime Minister, you are the Vice President. Do you allow these kind of Vice Presidents and this kind? I'm not saying any Prime Minister or any President. I'm discussing these particular ones and how they've been doing their things. If it were any other, you should let the process take its due course and take action accordingly. But the President would not want to empower Parliament to that level. I would be shocked if he, and if he did, it wouldn't be for empowering Parliament or recognizing their role and their authority. He would really be having another card altogether in his personal political schemes. So I'm not among those who would be excited about the center of command intervention and things like that. No. So that's how I see it.
Briefly, before we go into the break, how do you react to the more serious charge that Parliament collectively as a whole actually passed this award, and now there is an attempt by a section of Parliament to bring back the discussion and open it up for debate?
Yeah, you see, we are also challenged there because the information we are all discussing is information we are getting from members of Parliament who are in that house, who debated these issues. Now, there is a section saying we debated it. There's also a section saying we didn't debate it. So, you cannot be in a rush to pick any of the sides. And this is why I was saying, I hope it gets to the floor so that, in the house, it's easy to say, guys, but we passed this during this and this and this and this and this. It was this minute, it's here in this vote, it's here in this whatever. But as of now, the proponents of the petition are saying, where was it passed? And the opponents of the petition are saying, you guys, were you asleep? We passed these things in Parliament. So I wouldn't want to seemingly authoritatively comment on that matter because our sources of information, which are credible, are speaking different things. And yet, as of now, those are the ones we can rely on. Yeah, I am sure now you can't even go to Parliament and access that minute.
Thank you, Yam. Thank you, Yam, for your perspective. Focus on Parliament now takes a short break. When we return, we continue the discussion on the censure motion before Parliament regarding the case of the 4 parliamentary commissioners.
Digital rights are those human rights and legal rights that allow individuals to access, use, create and publish digital media or to access and use computers, other electronic devices and telecommunication networks. Digital rights include a right to freedom of expression, information and communication through technology, a right to privacy and data protection, a right to credit for personal works, a right to universal and equal digital access, a right to identity, a right to anonymity, a right to be forgotten, and a right for protection of minors, among others. The state's digital rights are frequently violated through various unfair actions, for example, blockage of websites and social networks, theft of credentials, unauthorized use of people's data for personal gain, privacy intrusion, online censorship, arrests and intimidation of online users, internet blockages, and the proliferation of laws and regulations that undermine the potential of technology to drive social, economic, and political development worldwide. It is hence every citizen's responsibility to respect rights of other digital users and to speak out or report to the responsible parties when one's rights are violated.
Welcome back. This is the Focus on Parliament show on Civic Space TV. In this segment, we continue the discourse on the censure motion now being considered by the members of Parliament, targeting the 4 parliamentary commissioners who are accused of sharing in the loot amounting to 1.7 billion in irregular service awards. I am going to start with you, Winfred. From a citizen's perspective, where do you see this ending?
Where do I see this ending?
That's the next one.
With already the circus where we started from, I see it ending. It's not easy to determine now how it's going to end. Like how he has said that let's wait when the motion gets on the floor of Parliament, because now, as a citizen, if I'm to determine, because first of all, even my member of Parliament, who is very vocal, Semujunganda, has kept quiet.
Would they have a vested interest?
Honorable Semju, I think it sits on the rules and the privileges and disciplinary things like that, which Abdul Katon chairs. Honorable Abdul was also saying he can't sign because he's the chair, and this matter might inevitably come to his committee, so he would really be doing injustice to him. So
let him also come out and tell
so
us
maybe
that.
Honorable Semju could also...
No, since that one came out and spoke the reason, let
he
him
should
also.
also
No, he has his reasons and it is valid to him. But I'm just saying that since one my MP who is very vocal has
kept silent on this matter.
Namboze has
Mangachibon.
all of them are, you get it. So it is really tricky for me as citizen to determine where this is going.
The Noob tour.
They're on a noob tour.
They are still out.
They are now in Masaka. I really understand. I'm trying to understand. But it might end up as, like how I've told it, starting as it is a circus. This is a house where we are having people who sit, like I said, in the same house. And some are saying it is a yes, and some are saying it's a no. I still question, are we having the right people? Are even these members of Parliament taking us citizens serious? Or they just think that, we can do whatever we want? Do they even that is where it speaks also to this absenteeism? Maybe I'm not saying it passed, but I'm saying this one saying that it was brought on the floor and it was passed. Maybe the other people weren't in the house. Maybe not. So they leave us citizens to question their motive of being in Parliament. Are they really representing us? Are they there for money, for status, or for their stomach? Yes. And that is one. The other thing, given that this other MP also tried to steal the sheet when even Sechikubo is seated there. I sat in my house. I said, they need to put for us a footage on a video out there so that we see how he started to steal when this other person is there. I'm just showing you
the live link.
I'm just showing you how you can't determine. You can't determine the end results because we are seeing a lot of circus going on. Because for us, we know that Sechikubo and the team are seated there throughout. And again, why I can also determine at the end of it all, we have seen the interest. First of all, even if it comes at the floor, we have gotten the 177. How is the voting at the end? Does this determine them going down, or it just determines bringing it on the floor?
It determines bring it as a motion
On the floor. You get it?
Need half of the members to...
And is 177 half of the parliament?
No.
You get it? These are some of the things, me as a citizen, I question myself, okay, we have gotten the 177, now it is brought on the floor. It has to be passed, and then they have to do the what? The voting. And who takes the lead most?
And maybe we need, sorry for that, to give you information also. We actually have a minister who was censured successfully throughout the whole procedure. Honorable Francis, but she still sits in
yes.
up to now.
So around there are many things which are not serious. Yes, people, I agree with this is, and I really applaud them that this is a collective things. We have seen all what? All parties getting involved and interested in this. We have seen Salo Pendi on the front line of this. It is still going to be a comedy. To me, I feel we are just in the process. We are in Series 1. This is a Series on Series 1, Series 2. But yes, we shall still credit those ones who have taken the lead, however much it doesn't pass. And as a citizen, I will still applaud the citizens, because for me, I will still stand and say, my stand is, this is the effort of the citizens. Yes, it is the effort of the citizen. However much it reaches the floor and it doesn't pass, it is okay. We have done our part as citizens. At least we have somehow laid ground. It is now our MPs to do what? To fail us. Who might even fail us? And again, at the end of it all, many things in Uganda right now, we have seen that until the president is interested in something, it passes. If the president is not yet interested, you have seen the letters coming out. He's questioning. He's not yet really convinced of this. And like my brother here said, like, when this thing is political, I also pointed it out. At the end of the day, it is going to put all the people who are in that meeting, that is speaker, if it's only the speaker, but all of them, yes. And where is it leaving the what? Where is it leaving the parliament? So me as a citizen, I am still in this dilemma of, okay, this member, Honorable Sekuba, is doing a great something I would want. All those ones signing are doing a great job, but at the end of it all, I'm still just enjoying the circus. Now what shall we see tomorrow when it comes on the floor? What are we going to see? How is the debate going to go on? Yes. So there are a lot of questions there. I can't right now determine. What I can just determine, me as a citizen, we have done our part, and that I credit. Citizens have done their part. The member of parliament on this very issue have done their part so far. But again, when it reaches parliament, how is it going to be? Are they going to raise hands? No. How is the voting? You get it? Vote. It is an individual vote. So someone can even, yes, you say yes or no. So it's all determined there. But I have to appreciate the process so far. However much at the end, it might not come out clearly well that these commissioners will be removed from the seat. It might not come out, but there is a possibility, because right now Uganda is at crossroads. Yes, as a country, it is at crossroads. Yesterday we got sanctions from US. Yes. Where does it leave Uganda as a country? Yes? So anything can happen. The commissioners might be removed. Because at the end of it all, you might also ask yourself, when the president sits there and weighs in their meeting, and they sit and weigh and ask, but by the way, these 4 commissioners they are removing, what does Ponga bring to the table of the NRM? and then they weigh now each person. We appreciate they've done a good job. Like yesterday, Honorable Yanima was saying, can we really try to sacrifice Mpuga for only this, for the good work he has done? Meaning that the other ones were, from his statement, it means that for the other ones, it's okay to sacrifice them because they haven't done something. But again, when it gets on the table, is it the final manual way? What do they bring on my table? Yes. So at the end of the day, there might be even some cards played there, like people to save themselves, and they might give in. So it is really tricky. But as a citizen, I appreciate the move, and my expectation is for them to, and they would even, if really these people loved our country, and they were concerned about us, the citizen, they would have done us a favor. They would have eased the process and resigned. You get it? This is just a position. And the truth is, a mistake was done. You can't award yourself that lots of money. However much you have the money to give yourself, there's an award, it is there, you have to award yourself. You can't give yourself a lot of that money. Another issue that I've heard from member of parliament who are signing, as they're saying, you can't award yourself this whole money. At the same time, increase your salary to 23 million away from the salary you earn as a member of parliament. What kind of greediness really is that? Seriously, what kind of greediness? And they can't. Because even if they stay there and they say that, okay, we shall go to court after, the truth is, what they did was wrong. If I was one of them, it is hard. But that if someone stood up and said, what I did was wrong, I am choosing to step down, there is some credit that person would gain than taking us through this whole process. Yes.
Thank you, Winfred. Joseph, is it high time we comprehensively reformed and reviewed the accountability function and also by extension the leadership function of Parliament as an institution? Because this scandal has highlighted a lot of issues with the leadership function of Parliament. A case in point is the 23 million that we now understand the Parliamentary Commission arbitrarily passed as an additional benefit on top of their regular emoluments, salary, allowances, even the service award. So, from again a policy analytical standpoint, what could be the solution long-term to this whole issue?
At the beginning of the Uganda Parliament exhibition, part of the debate then went into whether Parliament does not have too much power over determining what the emoluments are or what their salaries are. So we know there was conversation that parliamentarians should not determine their salaries, because at the moment they have the leverage of determining this much, and I think the same bad behavior then went to the Parliament Commission for determining how much reward I will get after doing my work later, because it was some sort of ex gratia award that they would get at the end of service. So the truth is that we need a salary review commission as a nation to determine whether parliamentarians really deserve this amount of money we are paying them. We all know Parliament runs a budget of over 900 billion. That's quite a lot of money for a very poor country, and it is sickening to hear that then on top of that money they are getting every month, someone is awarding themselves 400 million in this economy, the one we are living in. So it's true, we might need to look at public pressure towards reducing the powers that Parliament has over determining the emoluments that they have. And perhaps it needs to be, and I think Honorable Semu Uganda has always talked about this, we are misusing our power, giving ourselves large amounts of money for cars and all these benefits. In the long run, it is going to bite us. We need to reduce our appetite for putting our fingers in the national cake, because it will catch up with us. And still on the question you had still asked, there are about 2 political theories that are likely to shape how this entire process goes. The first is it succeeds. The censoring succeeds, the commissioners go, and as a result that builds up what Yamu called like some sort of consciousness that MPs have power, and then they now go for Speaker Among, and they pull him out of the office of the Speaker because perhaps they want to retain their seats ahead of 2026, and by them not proceeding to censure her, then they are losing that specific seat. So that means we get our Arab Spring, we get our candlelight revolution, which could trigger down to 2026, and we are perhaps more vigilant about what kind of caliber of people we are sending out there to Parliament. The second scenario is where it doesn't succeed. Even then, and this speaks to a very, very crucial perspective, Uganda has one of the highest attrition rates for voting back members of Parliament. I still have some sort of faith in Ugandans. And as Parliament Watch, we are waiting for that list of, let's say, those 174 who will have signed. We will publish the list and we shall sing the song, just like in, I think, in the presidential age limit. Even those who voted yes, right, to remove them, up to now we still say we know you betrayed the will of Ugandans and followed the will of the NRM caucus and the will of Gwachitura. We shall always remember 100 years from now, your children will always remember that you also made a mistake. We will still get that record and publish it. That record, I think, and Parliament Watch has a network of radio stations we work with. This information goes ahead to determine public conversations on radio stations, and you know radio is the most listened to medium of coverage. So in the long run, we think this is going to create change. If any MP dares not to sign that motion, the counter statement they would be having is that they are in support of the largest forms of corruption, or the trying to get strong words, I can't come to them quickly. But the idea is that they would be against the people. At the moment, almost everyone at the grassroots is crying. Someone finishes 40 years of being a public servant and they cannot even get 50 million out of their retirement. Someone is working in the private sector, there's no minimum wage, as we were discussing the other week, they have no protections, the economy is particularly not doing well. So even when Ugandans, yes, love eating money of politicians, I think we are getting to the brim of it. We shall eat the money if they bring it, the one they have stored in elections, but those people shall get out of office if they do not do what is right. And they still have this 4th term of Parliament, which is starting between now and when the political cycle starts. They could do something to, one, retain their seats, but also restore public confidence in this institution called Parliament.
Thank you, Joseph. Yeah, even as we conclude briefly, your reaction on the new range of sanctions announced by the US government targeting the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among.
By that, you mean there'll be another round to give closing remarks?
No, even after that, you give the closing remarks. Thanks.
So, firstly, again, it's whichever way you look at it, we are cooked in a sense, in the broader scale of things. I don't want to use the word Pan-Africanist, but I'm failing to find the right word. But you want to be careful allowing somebody determining what happens within your house. If you are head of house or you have a home, you are very careful about somebody entering your home and trying to determine what happens in there. Because once you allow that, you don't know what other stage they can go to, and then another, and then another. You see what happened with the scenarios of Libya, for example. These are small steps that can move towards that. Now, unfortunately, those actions align with our interests as citizens, that hey, these guys feel they are so powerful, they are beyond us, they really don't give a damn about us as citizens, and they undertake all this squander and things like that. And we are vulnerable. We've been strategically, the society has been weaved for now about 40 years to be who we are today. Indifferent, fearful, unconcerned, majority of the people fall in these categories. So they would be an applauded action, but I applaud hesitantly. I clap with a bit of my head down because you see, you could want change, for example, of government. You want better leaders who respect procedure, will be more accountable, will be democratic, will observe human rights, like they claim, the imperialist forces claim they are trying to contribute towards too. But you see, for you will want to change the leaders to get those leaders you think you should have. But more often than not, these imperialists want the country, not new leaders. For them, they want the whole thing. They want even you. But they will package it to look like they will also, the interests are aligned with yours to have the leaders changed, and you have the leaders you want. But in the long run, they will fish the whole country. So we need to be careful. And it's unfortunate that our leaders who grandstand on Pan-Africanism principles and things like that, again do things that bring these imperialists more and more into our societies. So even when, because we are vulnerable as a citizenry, because the state is captured, it's not pro people, it's pro somebody, it's pro a particular group of people who want to keep in power for over years and years and years. It's a welcome move, but we hope they keep it at that. It's like if a husband was beating their wife, or a wife was beating their husband, and the neighbor intervened into the issues and put them apart. In the moment, whoever was being beaten will be relieved that they've saved me. But once the neighbor goes away and they sit back and they put their things right, they always feel bad that the neighbor got to know what was happening within their own household. So it's better that we try to really sanitize our politics so that we don't allow those kind of things. Now, as I close, if I have not, I don't know if the viewers have picked something from our conversation. I hope they do. Me, I have, and it has come from Winnie. If I take away anything from this conversation, she asked two simple questions in passing. I don't know if she realized how serious they are, but they go to the citizens, and she said, do we have the right people in the parliament? And two, do these MPs care about you, the citizen? Do they care about me? Do they care about you, the voter? These are questions you will need to ask yourselves as citizens, and fortunately for you, whichever answer you have, you still have the power to ensure that indeed you send the right people into this institution, you send people who will care and give concern about your own aspirations and desires and needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Yam, for your able participation on the program. Winfred, quickly, your reaction regarding the new wave of sanctions announced against the Speaker of Parliament, even as you convey your closing remarks.
I only need to, of course, I'll thank the US government, especially that now they even had a bigger number. Even the male were included you know. So
that was a concern to you.
yeah, at first it was a concern. By the way, I was like, are they targeting only women? But these men are the ones who have even stolen more than us, and they are leaving them out.
Lately, the women have flipped. They are flipped.
No, we are maybe you're mentoring us as you mentor us. Those are some of the things you're mentoring people like those who are embezzling public funds. And I really need to appreciate I need to appreciate all partners, all countries that are coming in to feel the pain of the citizens, to hear the voice of the citizens, because like how my brother said, it is us who are exposing ourselves. It is our judicial system that have led us there. If really they acted well, if they really acted in the proper way, that yes, people really stole whatever they stole, and they were held accountable, I don't think we would have gotten here. And I would also, why I also appreciate this, I appreciate the sanctions. We'll look at the repercussions later of what if they are going to take our country. Now we are looking at now, because I believe, I saw how yesterday evening people were rushing to sign, and I believe it is a wake-up call to many members of parliaments, to many state actors, and I believe to many people who are violating human rights, because we might look only on parliament, but I think this is a wake-up call to every person who is violating human rights in Uganda. And I also call upon other countries to add on sanctions. Yes, these people need to feel the pinch as the citizens go through. And as a mother and as a woman, who are people who are more part of the marginalized communities, yes, I encourage the citizens to join this fight. You see that money that was taken, 500 million, 400 million, that's 17, we have very many women who have lost their children at birth just because health care centers lack facility. Our facilities lack the what? Just to save these babies. We are having very many children not go to school, or even go to school but don't study well because they don't have where they are studying from. The infrastructures are worse than nothing. They have no food, So I encourage every citizen to join this fight, to hold our leaders accountable. We don't have even only to wait for when they do things. Let's start from the level where you are. If you see anyone who is in a public office, let's try and hold them accountable, because at the end of the day, it is us, the marginalized communities. Personally, I speak because I'm part of the marginalized communities. Yes, I feel the pinch, even if it's not me. Yes, I may be right now have some privilege, but there is that person who doesn't have that privilege. So this fight is to help us save all of us, because no one is safe if all of us were not safe. So we are saving our taxpayers' money, which is supposed to work on roads. It is supposed to work on our healthcare sectors. It is supposed to work on education. It is supposed to even help us to get out of poverty. You get it? So as I close, I want to thank the viewers, like I started by thanking the citizen, because it's the voice of the citizens that led us here. Our efforts are not going unnoticed, and we feel we might not get the result now that we need, but we believe that with what we are seeing, that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Then to our member of parliament, let's not look at whether you're coming back to the parliament 2026. Let's do the right thing. At least you've had the big share for some good time. And where you say that there's the commission, to some extent, when you see the arguments of the different members of parliament, it is as if they've created gods within the parliament. Committees that sit alone and other members of parliament don't get to know about this. Or else, can we say that some members of parliament, some things are brought on the floor and they can't really interpret what is being said on the floor, and it goes back to us, the citizens. Come 2026, who are you taking to represent you? Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Winfred, for sharing your perspectives on the program. Joseph, quickly react to the announcement by the US government to sanction the speaker and also deliver your closing remarks on the program.
Thank you, Isaac. A few months ago, I think it was December, we were at CAS with Honorable Judge Karuhanga, with a few activists within that space in Uganda, and we were in some sort of World Cafe session, and I was passionately running the argument that the NRM is a fiercely Pan-Africanist institution. One of the activists there, Tony Natif, I think you know him, the leader of Public Square, said, I think you're wrong. The actions of the NRM government are actually anti-Pan-Africanist, and his argument was from, is it Pan-African to steal? Is it Pan-African to misuse power? And those were really simple questions that redirected my focus on the idea that it's not enough for people to say they are Pan-Africanist. I think we need to also
When their
look
actions are
at
different.
the actions, whether their actions are pro-Africa, and I know the NRM government sings this song a lot, but if their actions speak a different message from what their words are saying, I think we need to pay more attention to the actions. And this now takes me to the sanctions. The sanctions are Pan-Africanist. They are pro-people of Africa. The sanctions are ensuring that no one uses public resources they have stolen because you want to travel to that country, meaning you won't spend stolen money in that country. Is that action Pan-Africanist? Yes, it is. Is the action of people stealing money anti-Pan-Africanist? Yes, it is at a principled level. And for
maybe
me,
sorry, but just to interject, and I'm sorry again.
of course.
But when you say it would be interesting if South Africa gave the sanctions or Kenya or Ghana, but if it's the US and UK, there is also an underlying arrogance in there of saying, because our country is special anyway, you know, so if you can. If you need to, you want to come here and all that, but it's not a given that I want to come there anyway. But anyway, that's a conversation.
That is why
I think that's a good
US can't determine for South Africa. Why I'm in support with what you're saying is our country, our leaders really know, away from even Uganda, are they really Pan-African as they say? If they can't sanction, which means they're also in support of some of the actions.
Oh yes, and I think you make a very brilliant argument, which is that the US is not a special place to the extent that someone will die if they don't go there. They will remain with their visa to Arcadia, and it will be okay.
Shouldn't be.
Yes, shouldn't be.
It could be now, but it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. And I think sanctions are a method of communication that the actions you are engaging in are wrong. But also I think as a Pan-Africanist and someone who has been following foreign policy as it is evolving in the global order, we all know that sanctions do not normally work on big countries. They are aware of big powers simply policing small powers and using them as leverage. I am also alive to that specific reality that the US has been using sanctions to define our political agenda. But in this case, like I had said earlier, their interest at this level aligns with ours. But of course, like you said, my head is also down. I'm a bit worried with the growing level of sanctions because those sanctions will not, for goodness' sake, I think Speaker Anita Among and his good husband, Haji Moses Magogo, I don't think sanctions are going to affect them in any way. But this is a statement they put on their Twitter. So globally we are known as thieves and people who cannot erect out thieves. We are looked at as people that... So globally for me the image, I'm not particularly sure whether if I, let's say, was doing business I would identify as Ugandan. I'm not sure whether I would do that. Yeah? Right, whether that specific identity is something I'm proud of. So globally, it gives us a bad picture.
Yeah.
Like if it is an African proverb which says that if one girl in the village conceives out of wedlock, then all girls out of that village then are perceived to be immoral. And for me, there's an image issue with Uganda being seen as a nation which has seen someone who is now getting into 40 plus years and is ruling. We are looked at as people who have no agency to rise and determine the political tides of the time. But now perhaps in my parting shots, like I said earlier, I think I still have faith in Ugandans. That even when the struggle to correct the power balance on the top has failed, at least we shall not create another Museveni in a Speaker of Parliament or in a commission as someone who goes away without accountability. At least, even when the other one has failed and perhaps we are still pursuing it, in the pursuit of that, as a political statement, as citizens, as members of Parliament, we need to make it very clear that we cannot create another Museveni. Not now, not in the next regime, not in the post-Museveni era. It's a statement. Exactly, it's a statement we have to actively do. And that's how they start. You still 500 million people say, no, you deserved it. Then it goes to 1 billion, it goes to... So we need to make that political statement very clearly. And for me, I have faith. Let's remove those members of Parliament who do not sign.
Not only removing, they have even to bring back the money.
Yeah, I haven't reached the accounts. Both was saying that we pass it, but a man hasn't reached us. But again, if it reaches them or if it has reached them, they should return that.
True. Confirmed that indeed the money was sent.
What?
So
I'm
waiting to see when he appears again on any talk show what he will say. But
in fact, they told saying who had got it as a loan before.
It went through. They have a circle as if parliamentary circle and things like that to be paid back and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh yes, I have faith in you, Ugandans, that you do the right thing. And step by step, we are healing this country from those that would want this not to be a country, but person's bedroom. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. Let me appreciate you, Joseph, Winfred, and Jotham for your able participation on this program, and also for your sound patriotic guidance to the citizenry out there. Once again, this is the Focus on Parliament show on Civic Space TV. Much appreciation to you, the viewers, for keeping us company from the start up to the conclusion of this program. Appreciation to the production unit for keeping us live on air. And please feel free to engage us on our various social media platforms. We are on X, we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, and you can watch this episode on our YouTube channel, where you can also subscribe. We'll see you next time. Be blessed.